pleasure.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It has been an honor and a privilege to welcome Sweden's Foreign Minister, the Right Honorable Margot Wallström, to Sri Lanka this morning. This visit follows on from the meeting we had in Geneva just over a year ago, and President Sirisena and Prime Minister Wickremesinghe's meeting with Prime Minister Stefan Löfven at the Boer Forum and the World Economic Forum, respectively. Foreign Minister Wallström is certainly no stranger to Sri Lanka, having lived and worked here in the late 1990s along with her family. I'm delighted that we can welcome Minister Wallström to Sri Lanka again in such an exciting time of transition when Sri Lanka is on a new path towards democracy, reconciliation, and development. Her presence here is also a source of great encouragement as we proceed on this journey to make our country a truly peaceful, reconciled, and prosperous nation which abides by the best democratic traditions, promoting and protecting the human rights of all our citizens, and celebrating the multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-religious, and multilingual nature of our society. We also recognize Minister Wallström's consistent leadership in the world's efforts for improving the rights of women. Sri Lanka too is moving forward on this front. We have introduced a 25% quota for women at local government elections, and the new constitution will further ensure that gender parity and the rights of women are upheld. We look forward to working with Sweden on this issue and other important universal concerns such as climate change at the United Nations and other multilateral fora. Today, Sri Lanka has ended its period of self-imposed isolation and is taken note of by the world community, not merely in terms of her geographic position at the center of the Indian Ocean, but in terms of the changes that have been ushered in by the people of our country. But we have a long way to go, and the people of Sri Lanka require the assistance of the international community to ensure that our gains are built upon, the dreams of our people are realized, and that we define and create our future today by our hopes and aspirations without being held back anymore by the fears and prejudices of the past. In our meeting just concluded, we discussed working together to ensure that the people of our country benefit from these changes and from the peace and democratic dividend. We also discussed ways of making our partnership stronger, including enhancing development assistance, bilateral trade, tourism, and investment. Specifically, I extended Sri Lanka's appreciation of Sweden's continued development assistance over the last 50 years, especially the Kotmale hydropower project, and discussed the possibility of the Swedish International Development Agency, SIDA, resuming a program again here in Sri Lanka. We note with appreciation also the high-profile trade and investment delegation representing some of Sweden's largest companies accompanying the Honorable Minister. Sri Lanka is already home to 21 Swedish investment projects, and as we improve market access to the subcontinent by deepening existing free trade agreements with India and Pakistan, in addition to other emerging markets like China, with whom we are negotiating to sign a free trade agreement, we are confident that the delegation will find Sri Lanka an attractive gateway to the subcontinent and the Indian Ocean rim. In addition to the emerging market access, we are consolidating our position in developed markets. The Minister for International Trade is currently in Washington for the Trade and Investment Framework Agreement Council meeting, which will include discussions on securing further concessionary access to the US markets. We are also buoyed by the EU Commission lifting the red card on Sri Lanka's fish exports, and we will soon, we hope, be in a position to regain the GSP Plus concession access to the EU market. By June, a number of important bills will be introduced in Parliament to create an even more efficient, dynamic and secure business environment conducive for investment. Sri Lanka, I would say, by then will be truly open for business. During her visit, Minister Wallström will be meeting later on today President Sirisena, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, and the Speaker of the Sri Lanka Parliament. She will also be visiting Jaffna. I wish her, the Minister Wallström and her delegation, a very pleasant stay here in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. And I must start by saying how wonderful it is to be back in Sri Lanka. And I want to thank the Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka and all those involved in preparing such an excellent program for me. And I'm, together with my delegation, looking forward to 2 days of program filled with exciting discussions and also a visit to Jaffna and important discussions that we are having. We are looking forward to it very much. And Foreign Minister Samaraweera and myself have just had a very fruitful and excellent meeting. And we have noted, first of all, that Sweden and Sri Lanka have a long-standing relationship, and that we both have an interest in strengthening our bilateral cooperation and also working together on many of the issues that your Foreign Minister has already mentioned, and the issues that we face globally. Of course, climate change is one of them. Sustainable development is another, to make sure that we can live in peace and security also belong to those challenges. We have also discussed the positive progress being made in Sri Lanka in many areas, as well as the remaining challenges. And I think that this positive development provide a very positive context and backdrop to our discussions on increased cooperation multilaterally and bilaterally as well. I have also welcomed the Sri Lankan government's policy of active engagement and involvement with the international community, very important these days. And I am very pleased that a number of Swedish companies will be represented at a roundtable discussion that we will have this afternoon. And I hope we will be able to define a number of areas for hopefully Swedish investments and or cooperation in sectors like infrastructure, green technology, information technology, the whole transport sector belong to those areas that we have identified already as interesting to both our countries. And I have found it an overwhelming, generous reception that we have received so far. So thank you very much for that. And I hope we will continue and deepen our cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.